So we've had 24 hours to recover from a hectic or nerve-wracking US Grand Prix when Max Verstappen managed to just hold up Lewis Hamilton at the end. One of the most tense finishes since Lewis Hamilton's tires decided to give up in Britain last year. Of course, it's been the end of the season. There's a lot to talk about the season, and I think three key points need to be talked about after this race. Of course, the big one is it's clear that the advantage is now with Verstappen. Coming in this week, everyone considered this to be a Mercedes track, caught as a Mercedes track. Mercedes 1 2 is what everyone was predicting, and in the end, Red Bull just dominated as soon as qualifying came around. Perez even looked like for a bit he was going to get pole and possibly even challenge in the race until his drink system went nope, and he was struggling to fucking not die in the fucking race to somehow get a podium. But with the next two tracks, Mexico and Brazil, being considered Red Bull tracks, it's clear that Hamilton needs to beat Verstappen in Mexico and Brazil over those 2 weeks. Because with the last few races, Qatar, Saudi, and Dubai, they're up in the air. No one knows what's going to happen. But everyone's thinking Red Bull should be the dominant one in the next two races. So with Hamilton being behind, it's clear that he needs to, at minimum, beat Verstappen over Mexico and Brazil. Otherwise, it's going to seem like Verstappen's lose. Okay, the second point I think that hasn't been addressed much I've seen is that the Constructors' Championship is still damn well alive. Going into the race, there has not been much talk over the Constructors. It seems like Mercedes had the upper hand. They're about 40 points ahead going into this race, but now that gap is down to 22 points. The Constructors' Red Bull can still come back to the Constructors' Champions. Perez clearly back in form. He's seeming like he's going to be consistently getting podiums. Mexico's next round. He clearly is going to have a fire in him. He wants that home win. He wants that home podium minimum. Bottas, being inconsistent as he is, Monza and Turkey, he looked like fucking Senna and Schumacher had a flipping child, while in Russia and US, he just was very lackluster and managed to scrape some points in the end. Of course, likelihood of I'm predicting Mercedes will probably just hold on to constructors, but at least there's still that in play. Yep, that could also come down to Dubai. That Perez and Bottas, they clearly still have a role. They need to. They're in their own little personal battle. I think it's like 30 points between Perez and Bottas at the moment. It's Perez's role at the moment is trying to close that down to Bottas. Bottas' role at the moment mainly is to be Hamilton's bitch, but also help them win the constructors. That's still a thing. And number three. Oh wait, fuck me. What? Third point coming out of this: McLaren Ferrari needs to be looked at more. Opening lap of the race, almost flipping 4 wide between them. Sainz, Ricciardo, Norris going 3 wide with Leclerc just in front of him, begging for a fucking Titanic accident. Of course, in the end, Sainz gave the place to the wrong McLaren, which led to the most confusing radio ever. Which kind of screwed Norris for the entire race, but was funny. But yeah, 3 points now separate Ferrari and McLaren in the constructors. Battle for third. Everyone knows how big third is over fourth with prize money, especially as there's major talks about McLaren and Ferrari hopefully becoming title contenders next season. Every penny they can scrape is going to be massive. So that's another one which could well go down to the bye. Ricciardo getting back into form. Norris not as good as he was appearing at the start of the season. Ricciardo has been the better driver since the summer break over Norris, and Sainz and Leclerc pound for pound pretty similar driver style. So that it's going to be close between Ferrari and McLaren for that massive third, we knew how big third was in the championship, seeing McLaren, Renault, and Racing Point Balfour. Of course, McLaren just pipping Racing Point in the end. And yep, just looking at it now, Aston Martin delusionally thinking they're in a battle for fifth. The championship between Alpine and AlphaTauri, which they've got seven secured. That's good for them, I guess. They got seven secured. But yeah. Oh, also, I think the biggest talking point. Two other side notes. I think two big side talking points. One, why the fuck do we keep having celebs show up to F1, especially when they show no interest? Like, Jesus Christ, Draco Malfoy tried to fight Martin Brundle on the grid before the race, which honestly would have been comedic and still better than Jake Paul versus Ben Astrict. And, Shaq, he brought some entertainment. George Lucas, always been an F1 fan. Ben Stiller seemed interested. Serena Williams looked somehow managed to look more awkward than she did at Monaco when they decided to interview her after the race, and she just was like, what's happening here?" Yeah, okay, just Vietnam flashbacks there. And I think, after all the race, I think the most important thing we need to talk about, Alpine are petty as fuck. I'm not even going to describe it into more. If you don't know what's happened, just look up Alonso just battling the Alfa Romeos and the team radio. And apparently, Michael Massey muted the Alpine team radio. Need I say more? But yeah, after the US Grand Prix, I think those are the clear talking points after the race. Mexico's next. Mexico, of course, thick. It's known for being a chaotic race. Previous seasons, it's been the championship deciding race. This season, for once, it's not the championship deciding race, but it could play big into the championship, especially with how dangerous those first couple turns are. But yeah, that's it.